Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the best teams for the Open Great League. Today we're not going to focus on anything other than the best teams. So we don't have a focus on like just buff Pokemon, anything like this. We're going to take a look at least my opinion, currently the best teams for the Open Great League. Literally. So we have top toxic meta teams here. Actually, nothing is really that toxic in this video actually. So like we just have top meta teams here today. And of course those are here for you to climb. And if you enjoy this video, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I know those videos are very, I don't know, like well searched for. So feel free to leave a like as well if you enjoy this type of content. And let's take a look here at team number 1. Which is a general core that just got stronger this season. We're going to have the Mudboy double flying team. This is something that has been around for quite a while. There have been alternative options, which you're going to see here as well, with like the secondary options with Florges as a Sasop and the Torcus in the back. But basically Swampert got buffed and the Quagsire got buffed, and both of them are currently taking on the meta and taking over the meta. As we're going to have here Swampert currently in this graphic, but Quagsire might be even the stronger Pokemon because Quagsire has the better coverage and Stone Edge. But just generally speaking, those two Pokemon are absolutely back. And we're going to have here, of course, two flying type Pokemon in order to counter the only weakness that those Pokemon have, which is grass type Pokemon and grass type moves. Of course, those are going to be resisted by our backline. Of course, Corviknight is going to have access to his hand attack, doing some nice damage with the ground typing already as well. So you have a ground type in the lead. You can bait out with Corviknight and answer to flying type Pokemon. They can still punch with the ground type fast move or sand attack. Like mainly it's going to be something like a rock or a steel type Pokemon. And then you're going to have Moltres in the back to sweep, or the Torcus in the back to sweep, or the Toucan in the back to sweep, any kind of flying type that you really want to use. And again, there are going to be other alternative options as a Sasop as well. You can even run Fearow, which is access to Drillrun, which is kind of nice there. You can here, of course, have access to also use the Pokemon of Florges. Florges works out quite well as well for this team. And just generally speaking, this is an archetype that just kind of works out for the last 26 seasons, to be fair. Like this team kind of idea has been around for ages. Before was Skarmory Swampert core was broken. Now it is this one here. Like Corviknight just kind of took the space of Skarmory, and it's still such a good team. The next team is, I guess, a little bit maybe toxic, I don't know. We're going to have the general core of Jellicent plus Wigglytuff. Both of those Pokemon are currently dominating competitive play, and they're working really well together, basically. Wigglytuff, of course, as a Fairy-type Pokemon, you kind of don't want to face Fire-type Pokemon because you have fast move damage of Charm is going to be resisted, as well as Poison types are kind of a bit of an issue, while Jellicent can deal with it. Jellicent, on the other hand, doesn't really want to face, especially like Ghost as well as Dark-type Pokemon, which Wigglytuff can beat, or even Grass-type Pokemon, where Wigglytuff has access to Icy Wind against. It's going to be just basically a near-perfect core. In the middle, we have Florges, or the Fortress, which both kind of work out super well in order to kind of complete this core. The only Pokemon that can really deal with it, and this is also one of the reasons why this Pokemon is so strong and so common, would be our alternative Sasop, which would be a Volt Switch version of the Fortress. As this Pokemon itself still has a ton of potential here. It's going to do some super effective damage against Jellicent, and it resists everything that the Wigglytuff has. So like this is kind of the only real answer towards it. Here you can even use it as your Sasop, which is kind of interesting as well, because it kind of opens up the potential option to bait out something like a Talonflame, still punish it with a Volt Switch at least, and maybe even a Rock Tomb, and then just clear out the way for especially the lone 9 hits in the back, which I feel like would be a cool idea. But yeah, this team itself is weak to other Fortress, definitely. Like this is definitely a thing. Nothing really that you can change about though. Here, next team. I know this team has been now broken for the last 2 to 3 seasons, but it is just still there. And again, we are maybe taking a look today at like really broken teams, like teams that I think are absolutely broken in the current meta. And this is just one of them. Like, sorry, Empoleon Tara core is still there. It didn't get changed at all. It's still very, very strong. It's still a near perfect core. All of those Pokemon definitely still have a lot of potential. And here, Sasops. Gorgas is kind of cool. Gorgas is cool if it's not Jellicent. Jellicent is a bit tricky for Gorgas, but Gorgas can bait out, for example, Ice-type Pokemon, and a lot of them are kind of weak, at least, of course, they're weak to Fire-type fast move damage, which we have here in this Pokemon, which is kind of cool. I feel like a lot of times it's very difficult to kind of counter Gorgas, because this Pokemon itself has so much, variety in moves that it can throw. So, like, it's kind of cool with that. Other alternative options, again, Florges is actually really nice because you have the wall type coverage there as well that you have on Empoleon. Dragonite is going to be fine because you're going to have, again, the perfect core scenario. You can go for Goodra, you can go for Dragonair. All of those kind of work out really well for this team, so yeah, choose something. And here again, Cresselia in the back is an alternative option for the Altaria. I think Cresselia is a super underrated, used Pokemon so far. I will definitely check this Pokemon out on this channel here in the near future, so definitely stay tuned for that as well. But it's going to be a fantastic team to run. Next up is going to be my favorite core of the last season. I still think it's a fantastic core right now to play. It's just Doublade, Normal type, Dark type. This is kind of what you have. Doublade is very unique to what it can do. It's a Steel and Ghost type Pokemon. There are a few of them, but nothing like none of them can do what Doublade can do because of Shadow Claw, Sacred Sword. That combination is just unique to this Pokemon, and it's just so good. It's just honestly such a good Pokemon. It's the typing itself is the reason why it's so good. The stats is actually really great for it. Gyro Ball is not a great move either, but Doublade itself, the typing just does it. And it's really good together with Ferret, especially Brick Break Ferret. I like Brick Break Ferret in the current meta. I think it's the best Ferret. I think Trailblaze is kind of a bit overused. I think the Brick Break Ferret is currently the better version of Ferret. Because Brick Break Ferret is going to be able to deal with other Ferrets, with other normal type Pokemon, which are very common as Say-Subs right now, which you can't really do as much with the Trailblaze version. So like that's kind of the main reason here. You better against Dark type Pokemon, which are quite common right now as well. And here in the back, Gossip in the back is the best Pokemon to have. You can run Shelgon, you can run Umbreon, you can run Mandibuzz, you can run the Galarian Moltres. All of them work out super well together with Doublade, especially like something like Moltres works out really well as well because you have like very good synergy in terms of the type that you have. Next up, one of the most common cores I currently see as well is Annihilate as well as Licky together. Annihilate currently with a low kick buff is such a good lead because it can either pressure opponents fast, you can run Shadow version of this Pokemon as well, or you have close combat to just apply immediate pressure and forcing shields. Licky on the other hand is going to be able to counter the flying type Pokemon that you kind of don't want to face, as well as you're going to have access to Shadow Ball, which gives you still Ghost type coverage that your lead has already. And then in the back we have Talonflame or the Empoleon. What you need is an answer for Fairy type Pokemon, and I do think that maybe Empoleon might even be a bit stronger here in this case, because Empoleon is going to be able to counter a Azumarill, which you're otherwise going to struggle against. Next team is kind of a reverse of, I think, team number 2 with a Wiki Tough together with a Jellicent, but like you can run this way as well. This way has the benefit of having Wiki Tough in the lead, where there are currently a lot of leads that are weak to Wiki Tough, and that is kind of something that is quite worth noting. But here also there's some alternative options that you can run as well, like the Quagsire as a Say-Stop, or the Unova Stunfisk in the back instead of the Jellicent. So like this gives you just some more options, but I do think this is a very solid team again. Very similar, of course, to what we had with team number 2. This is basically one of the most broken cores that we had in recent seasons, which is the Azumarill Drapion core. And as Drapion got buffed quite significantly this season, I kind of want to try out this core again here. We're going to have in the back the Drapion, the Fortress, which is going to definitely enjoy having Drapion as a Say-Stop, because again, you have a Water type in the lead, you're going to very likely bait out the Fire type with your Say-Stop. The Say-Stop here is going to have access to Awkward Tail, which is going to be allowing you to hit them for super effective damage, but you're also going to bait out for the backline that you have. Here we have either the alternative of like the option to go for Bug Bite Fortress, and this time Bug Bite makes more sense because it's going to allow you to counter ground type Pokemon a little bit easier, or the Steelix in the back, which if you don't really care too much about like potential ground type Pokemon, because this is the thing as well. If you run Volt Switch or Steelix, you're going to struggle very much against ground types when your lead is gone, and that's something I don't really want to risk. That's why I do think that Shadow Fortress with Bug Bite is going to be the best Pokemon for this specific team. Next up, I want to try this out. I don't think that Licky is the best Say-Stop here. I think it's Ferret again. I do think that Ferret is super underutilized right now, but Talonflame in the lead. Ferret Say-Stop with Brick Break. Again, you need Brick Break because look at the difficult matchups and look what Brick Break would do to them. You destroy them. And then Cresselia in the back. I do think that Cresselia is a very, very strong Pokemon in the current meta. It's very much underutilized. It's a very bulky Pokemon, one of the bulkiest Pokemon you can run with amazing coverage. So I do think this is going to be a fantastic team to run again as well. And I want to try this out. It might be the first team I'm going to try again when the Great Team comes back. I want to again highlight a bit Drapion. I think Drapion is a very good Pokemon right now. It's one of the Pokemon with the biggest buffs of the season without actually getting buffed. But we have the Guslord, Weezing, and Drapion core here, and it looks just so broken on paper. I just kind of had to include it. You have Awkward Tail still to kind of deal with the Pokemon that are very difficult matchups here. There are alternatives options as well. You can run Greninja in the lead as well if you want to for like another dark type, which then helps you out with matchups that you have difficulties here against as well. But I could actually play the fastest team possible on the Integrator here as well again, because it's so good. Like it's honestly such a good team to run. And the final team for today's video is going to be Ghost Double Fairy, actually. Which makes a lot of sense, as Fairy is going to be kind of weak to like poison type Pokemon, which you're going to be able to beat still with our lead, as it's going to be able to resist the poison type damage. But Fairy types are going to be very good against the dark typing that you're going to not really want to face with our lead. And that's the main reason why I want to try this out. You can run Rook Tough in the back as well. But I love Dusknoir. I think Dusknoir is a fantastic lead, especially in the current meta, because you have a lot of times Annihilate in the lead, and you can beat this. You have a lot of times Jazz in the lead, and you can beat this. And you're just very nice neutrally, and especially with energy up and like the energy up later on, you're going to be able to counter the opponents a lot of times, as Dynamic Punch plus the Shadow Punch is both not covered by any Pokemon that they can resist it, other than the Hisuian Zoroark, which nobody is playing. And so that's going to be it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow for some gameplay for the Open Great League. See you then. Bye bye.